6. That's what I thought. Okay. Hey guys, welcome to week 6 of Books Being Sick. I am Nick, and this is a great video for me because I don't have to do a ton of thinking. This is just a recap video for January. Now, January, oddly enough, ended up being probably the best reading month that I've ever had. I was not anticipating that being the case because I started the month kind of by finishing The Stand. Kind of read the bulk of The Stand in January, honestly. So I'm including The Stand in that list. You know, I did start it kind of mid-December, but I barely really read any of it in December, honestly, like maybe 150, 200 pages. And then the final, 900 pages I read in January. So I'm including The Stand. But just with, starting my month of January off, knowing I had that much of The Stand to get through, I kind of expected this month to be a little not so great. Ended up being amazing. Kind of like a quality over quantity, although the quantity is higher than any thing I've read in previous months. You know what I mean? Ding. Okay, so we're going to start. I'm not going to say a whole lot about The Stand. I'm going to go through all of these books. Again, I'm so hyped on all these books. There's definitely some winners, in terms of like, yeah, this was like legitimately one of the greatest things I've ever read. So we are going to go through those. First, I will mention The Stand. I've talked about this book a whole lot, but I'm not going to say a whole lot here, but The Stand was incredible. The longest book I've ever read. It is Stephen King's kind of, what do you say, magnum opus? Or is that the Dark Tower series? People maybe say that's what that is. But, it really is one of the greatest things I've ever read. It's a top 2 Stephen King book for me of the 20 or so that I've read so far. I would put this right beside 11/22/63 in terms of my favorites. It's just a really enjoyable read. It's kind of daunting going into a 1,200 page book because you're thinking like, oh my goodness, am I really gonna how am I gonna be into this by the end of it? But like funny enough, as you get to the end of this, the final 50 pages, you're like, no, I want more. I want another 1,000 pages, which seems crazy, but it really is true. You just kind of really get obsessed with these characters and don't want them to go away. And that's exactly how I felt with it. And just amazing way to start the year. Honestly, I don't think I could have picked a better book to start my year off with. Just as a big Stephen King fan, obviously, but also just in terms of like a quality book. So good. So that was the first one. I'm going to put it here. And that's also a really cool edition too, isn't it? I'm going to mention this one next. Now, this one I'm actually not finished. So I'm going to finish it today. So I don't know if that counts, but, I'm going to finish it today. And that is a really popular book that is making the rounds on YouTube and, all the other socials. And that is Fyodor Dostoevsky's White Nights. Now, this is a book that you probably saw, I believe it's Jack Edwards talk about. And I can't remember if that's where I saw it or not. I honestly can't remember. I saw a couple of videos of White Nights and people saying, like, if you want to get into Dostoevsky and you haven't read any, like, Russian literature yet, this is a great one to start because it's not very long and it kind of gives you a really good feel for what those books are going to be like in terms of, prose and all that. Now, I gotta say, I'm nearly done this, and when I first started it, I was like, I don't know if I love this. I'm confused. What is he saying? Like, he's just talking so much, and there's so much talking, and I'm like, I don't even really know what he's saying. And it was really, honestly, for the first, little bit of this, I was like, I don't know. I might not be ready for this. I might not be ready for this yet. This is really a lot. However, it was weird, I got to like the 30% mark, 40% mark of this, and things just started flowing. Then it was just like, I just started reading it differently somehow, like pretty quickly too. And it was just like, oh, wow. It's like started to hit me a little bit. I don't know if maybe that's just this book in particular, but really struggled for the first little bit of it just because I was kind of honestly a little bit confused as to what was happening. And then it just really turned around and I was like, whoa, this is good. This is like different. This is a different world of book. You know what I mean? This is a lot of thinking and smart. And I really I can tell this is going to break my heart. And so again, not done, but been really, really good. And that's on my Kindle too. I couldn't find this in bookstores anywhere, but it's 99 cents on the Kindle. And, So, I'm going to put that there. I believe I talked about this one in an episode too. I'm just kind of getting through all the ones that I feel like I've already talked about. The Picture of Dorian Gray. Picture of Dorian Gray was really good. It's a classic. It wasn't my favorite book of the month. This and another I'd probably put at the bottom, but that's not saying much because I did love every book this month. It's just, and when you kind of pair them up with the other ones this month, I don't know. Not at all what I was expecting. I had not a clue what this book was about. I, for some reason, thought it was going to be kind of like a Pride and Prejudice sort of classic love story. The picture of Dorian Gray. I don't know. I pictured Dorian Gray as like, that's the guy, the heartthrob. You know what I mean? And not that that's necessarily untrue, actually, in this book, but it's not at all what I was expecting. It's a pretty interesting story, pretty interesting read. The ending kind of becomes pretty predictable early on in the story, which is totally fine. I would still say it's worth reading. Maybe not like my favorite thing ever, but really good, really good. Okay, moving along here. I also talked about Small Things Like These, I believe, by Claire Keegan. Claire Keegan might be the greatest author of all time. I don't know if you knew that, but I think that actually might be true. This book was really expensive. I had seen some. I want to say it might have actually been Jack Edwards again. You know what I mean? That guy. He's got something going on. He, I think, mentioned this one and was like, Claire Keegan's amazing. And so I went to the bookstore. I live in Canada. I went to the bookstore, and this little tiny book was $30. And I was like, ooh, man, maybe I'll pass on that for now. You know what I mean? $30. But then I was like, well, it's fine. Then I bought all three. And so, yeah, now I have them all. And I read it, and I'm so glad that I actually did purchase this, because this is going to be one that I'm going to reread a lot. It is really, really good. Really fantastic. I had mentioned what this is about before. Small Irish town. We follow our main guy, Bill Furlong, who is works at like a kind of a coal. He delivers coal to all the businesses and homes in the small Irish town to kind of keep them warm. Christmas is coming, and without giving too much away, he kind of has an interaction with a woman, a girl who kind of makes him sort of have to face his future and his past, and it's really, really fantastic. Just in so few pages, she is able to just connect you with these people and the story in such a vivid way, and I love her for that. And I also, speaking of Mrs. Keegan, also read Foster by her as well. I love this too, by the way. I could grab the other one, but look, this is just such a nice. I love, Okay, so anyways, Foster by Claire Keegan. Also fantastic. Funny, this one kind of takes place in the winter. This one's more of a summary book, and just as heartbreaking, and just as maybe even more so. Oh, man, it's tough for me to say. I don't want to pit them against each other, but the emotions in this book are pretty hit me pretty much where I think she intended them to hit, and for that, I think this book is just fantastic. This is about a girl who goes to live with a family. There's only the mom and dad on their farm, and she's kind of coming from a family situation where it's not the best family situation that she's coming from, and she kind of just kind of connects to this mom and dad that she's staying with throughout the summer, and it's oh man, I again, one of those ones I can only really say so much without kind of giving away some key plot points, but really, really good. Likewise with Small Things Like These, you just connect to these people so quickly, and the way that Claire Keegan just sets up her little world is and also I think Weetabix are mentioned in this one as well. Weetabix are mentioned in both of these. I love Weetabix, so win. Okay, we got three more. Now I'm gonna start with this one, and then I'll save these two for the final, because these two I really truly loved. Not that I didn't love this one, but this, if I had to put one at the bottom for the month, would be it. And it pains me to say that, because it is a Stephen King book. It's The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. Now, I liked it. I really liked it. I did. Again, I liked all these books this month, but again, if I just had to put one at the bottom, this would be it. It's the story of a girl who gets lost in the woods. She kind of gets separated from her mom and her brother and just gets lost in the woods. And basically the entirety of the book is her just lost in the woods. And she's got this radio. She loves Tom Gordon, who's a relief pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. And she kind of just keeps herself sane by listening to the Boston Red Sox games on her little recorder or radio. She starts getting these paranoid sort of thoughts that there's this monster sort of thing following her around in the forest, which is creepy at times, and it was really good. I just found that it got a smidge repetitive. It's not even a very long book, but just she's lost in the woods, and then she's lost in the woods, and then there's a scary thing, and then she's lost in the woods. Still, it kind of dragged on a little bit for me. However, still a fun read, and I would say that if you're actually looking for some like if you've got younger ones in your life that you want to introduce to Stephen King, this might actually be a good one because it's pretty, in terms of the Stephen King universe, I would say relatively family friendly. There are a few words in there, you know, a few S's, a few, maybe an F, might be an F in there. So if that bothers you, you then don't. But outside of that, pretty, you know, not kid friendly, but young person friendly. The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. That was another one. We got 2 left. I'll start with this one because I just finished this one last night and it was devastating. You know, A Little Life, take a back seat. You know what I mean? This is true devastation. Anyways, okay, moving along. We were at Perks of Being a Wallflower. This is sick, man. I love this book. I really, really did. I, you know, have said this on here and on other accounts a few times now, so it's probably getting repetitive. But this was, I remember, just a really popular book when I was in high school. I did read when I was in high school. I only just started reading just over a year ago. And so I read this, and I love a coming-of-age story. It's my favorite thing. And so this is a perfect one. And as soon as I finished it, I was like, man, that actually would have been pretty great to read in high school. Like, just, that would have been, I think that kind of would have, you know, kind of would have connected a little bit and been like, yeah. Just the characters are so enjoyable. You know, nothing is fantastic as a character. And it's just, I don't know really what more to say about it. It's just, it's a very, it's very easy to connect with these people, I would say. And for that alone, you know, I love this book. The format of this is also very interesting because for those who have read it, you already know, but it's basically a series of letters that Charlie, our main character, is writing to this unknown person. And we never find out who that person is. Not really a spoiler, honestly, so don't get mad at me. But you're basically just reading these letters that he's writing about his kind of journey into high school and what he's experiencing. And it's heartbreaking, it's funny, and it's just one of those ones that I could not put down. I just was, any chance I had to just kind of keep going with it, I just kept going. Really, really addicting read. What else can I say? Oh, someone told me that there's a theory that, so for those who have read it, again, not a spoiler, but for those who have read it, that the letters, he's writing the letters to Michael. So, you know what I mean? Oh my gosh, as soon as someone told me that, I was like, no. Okay, speaking of devastation, I read my first Toni Morrison book, and that is The Bluest Eye. Now, The Bluest Eye I finished yesterday, just started a couple days ago and finished yesterday. This book is stunning. Like, I got to read everything that Toni Morrison has ever written, because the way that she writes, the way that she puts words beside each other, and you're just like, whoa, that's good, is incredible. It's just so unique. This is kind of similar to Dostoevsky. As I was reading this, I was like, oh, this is different. This is, you know, I'm feeling, I can tell that this is just a different world of book, you know what I mean? So yeah, The Bluest Eye, oh my gosh, guys, like I said, just truly heartbreaking and shocking and devastating, and all the words that would just can express pain with this book. And it's so beautifully written. It is so beautiful. I cannot say that enough times. You know, Toni Morrison, holy smokes. She won the Nobel Prize, it says on here. I don't know if that's for this book or for another one, but yeah, man, oh man, I cannot wait to read Sula. I cannot wait to read Beloved, and she's got a couple other ones and I can't remember their names, but this was my entry into the Toni Morrison world, and my goodness, it's you know, the characters in this book are just written in a way that are so realistic, that just makes everything that happens so much more heartbreaking. Yeah, again, similar to Perks of Being a Wallflower, in the sense that I just could not stop reading it. I was just like, you know, you're flying through it, because it's just the way it's written and the way everything is described is just, you know, I feel like some authors can kind of describe sort of like mundane things, and it gets a little like, okay, but the way that she's doing it is just so addicting. It's just so punchy and powerful. And yeah, anyway, Bluest Eye, wow. Cannot wait to read more about Toni Morrison. That's obviously in the top 5 for my year. We're only in January. It's going to be a tough one to knock out. It truly was something else. But be forewarned. look up trigger warnings and stuff like that. It is, yeah. Okay, so that was my month of January for reading. I've loved it, man. I'm so excited for February. February is a shorter month. I'm hoping to get maybe at least 5 books in. That'd be sick. Maybe 7, maybe 10. It's not about numbers. Numbers don't matter. It's fine. Just read whatever you can. Okay. Okay. All right. See you guys. Love you.